Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie. There have been some crazy deaths in comics. Even the most powerful heroes don't seem to be immune to death's cold embrace. Some deaths are certainly cooler and more important than others, and I'm here to talk about some of my favorites. So buckle up and grab the tissues because here's my list of the top 10 shocking superhero deaths. Number 10. NIGHTCRAWLER. Kurt Wagner's death was a pretty heartbreaking one, dying in an incredibly fitting way, at the hands of his own teleportation. When Bastion is targeting Hope Summers, NIGHTCRAWLER jumps to defend her. Predicting the teleportation, Bastion sticks out his arm and NIGHTCRAWLER impales himself on it. In a last effort, NIGHTCRAWLER manages to teleport to safety, saving Hope, but he dies soon after. Now, this death was really important because although NIGHTCRAWLER is eventually resurrected, his being in heaven was instrumental in Azazel's siege of heaven, which was a pretty major plot point. Number 9. Peter Parker. The death of Peter Parker was as shocking as it was tragic. In Amazing Spider-Man number 700, Parker was defeated by Dr. Octopus and killed. After switching bodies with Peter, Doc Ock kills him and swears to continue his legacy as a hero, becoming the superior Spider-Man. While later issues explain that Parker wasn't exactly dead, the apparent death was incredibly shocking to readers. Doc Ock later learns that Peter isn't quite dead, still residing in the back of his own mind, and eventually relinquishes control of his body back to Peter when he realizes that being a hero isn't all it's cracked up to be. Number 8. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel's death was a big one for a number of reasons. It was one of the first major superhero deaths, and it was one of the most human deaths a hero has had since he died from cancer. After being exposed to the malignant toxins of Compound 13, Captain Marvel developed cancer that ended up claiming his life, dying in bed surrounded by his comrades. It's a pretty emotional death, and it was quite a shift from the previous superhero deaths that were mostly in battle. I think it was really important to show that heroes are still people. You know, they don't always die in glorious combat. Sometimes things happen in life that are outside of your control, even if you're a superhero. There's definitely a lesson in that. Number 7. Rorschach. When you view the world purely in black and white, it's only a matter of time before you get yourself killed, and Rorschach did just that. After learning about Ozymandias' plan to essentially scare the people of Earth into working together, Rorschach's dichotomous worldview doesn't allow him to keep his mouth shut about it, and forces Dr. Manhattan to destroy him. I love Rorschach as a character, and I think this was a really interesting way to kill him. His morality is put to the test, and he stands by his guns rather than bend his rules. Number 6. Jason Todd's Robin. This one was one of the least surprising to fans, but pretty shocking after the fact. As a result of a vote by fans with a tally of 5,343 to 5,271, Jason Todd's fate was sealed. He was to die. In A Death in the Family, Todd is captured by the Joker and brutally beaten with a crowbar. As he waits, beaten and bruised, for Batman to save him, he's blown up by one of Joker's bombs in a really emotional moment. While he is not the coolest or most powerful hero on this list, his death was particularly important because it brought about his rebirth as the Red Hood, who is awesome. Plus, I actually played Jason Todd in a short film, so I'm kind of biased on this one. Number 5. Charles Xavier. Professor X was one of the most significant characters in the X-Men universe. Acting as a mentor and father figure for countless mutants, he showed all the virtues you'd expect from a hero. His death was super tragic, particularly since it came at the hand of one of his favorite students, Cyclops. In Avengers vs. X-Men, Cyclops is struggling to find where his allegiance lies. As Xavier tries to push him away from the Phoenix and to return to the good path, Cyclops vaporizes him in a fit of rage, thus submitting to the Phoenix. While this wasn't the end of the Professor's story, it was horrible to see him killed by one he had helped and trusted so much. Number 4. The Flash. The death of Barry Allen was certainly an upsetting one to many fans. While attempting to defeat the Anti-Monitor on the planet Quard, which is the stupidest planet name ever, the Flash finds himself face to face with the cannon's antimatter energy core. In order to make the cannon self-destruct, the Flash does what he does best: runs really fast. Unfortunately, he ran too quickly and he ends up disintegrating. Now, this incredible sacrifice certainly paid off, saving countless people on infinite Earths, and it was a fittingly heroic end to this popular hero. Number 3. Wolverine. And this is one of the coolest and most heroic deaths ever. After a long life thanks to his healing factor, Logan finds himself weakened by a virus that halts his healing abilities. As he finds himself less and less capable of his usual mayhem, he learns that Dr. Cornelius, the creator of Weapon X program, has ordered his assassination. While hunting Cornelius down, Logan discovers that the scientist plans to test even more innocent people by adding adamantium to them. Logan tears open the vats of adamantium to stop it being used on the people, but is covered in the liquid liquid metal as a result. He suffocates and dies, but not before stabbing Cornelius, finally getting vengeance. What a boss. Number 2. Batman. We've all seen the image from Final Crisis number 6 of a destroyed Batman being carried in Superman's arms. This came as a huge shock for comic book fans everywhere, as everyone thought Batman was just too cool to die. But when he faced up against Darkseid, we learned that even the Dark Knight can fall. In his final confrontation, Batman fires a Radion bullet at Darkseid, the same bullet that killed Orion, and wounds the villain. But moments later, Batman is killed by Darkseid's Omega beams. Thankfully, by the end of the story, we learn that Bruce is not killed, but in fact sent back in time by the Omega beams. But it was a jarring thing to see the dead body of the world's greatest detective. Number 1. Superman. Of course. Probably the biggest shock of all was when the seemingly unbeatable Man of Steel was killed. Even though the comic was titled The Death of Superman, readers didn't quite believe that it could possibly be true. But it was. For a while at least. After a long, incredibly hard battle, Superman and Doomsday put all their energy into one last attack, which leaves both mortally wounded. Superman dies in perhaps the most fitting way possible, in Lois's arms after defeating the ultimate enemy. Thankfully, Superman was not actually dead, he was just recovering in stasis in the time that he was gone. And he returns with some pretty luscious locks later on. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop me a like and subscribe for more videos like this. Make sure to let me know what other top 10 lists you'd like to see, or if you'd like a part 2. Hit me up on Twitter at Ron_McKenzie_ or check out my personal YouTube channel to see more shenanigans. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.